How's it going, everyone? And welcome back to an episode of Sip Talk, a little Tsipolitics coming at you. I'm joined by my brother, Alex Sippis, and my good friend, Alex Bauer. And we're going to talk about what happened at the U.S. Capitol yesterday, the insurrection that occurred within the Capitol building. And I want to start out with that word insurrection, because insurrection is a violent uprising against an authority or government. And that's what it was. It was a mob of people who are angry with the government for their own reasons, mostly wild, crazy conspiracy theories and accusations against the government. But granted, they were there as an uprising against the government. And one thing that has been on my mind a lot in the day and a half this has been being covered is a lot of people referring to this as a coup. And the reason why I just can't get over why that makes me feel so uncomfortable with describing this as a coup is because that's giving these morons way too much credit. When you look at coups from around the world, a lot of them in history, a lot of them were people who organized, planned, strategized, got military backing, took months or years to prepare to take down authoritarian regimes and actually bring democracy and freedom to their people. The people who are in the Capitol were not those revolutionaries, are not those type of people. Like when I think of coup, I think of the current president of Sierra Leone, who, as a young man in 1992, led a coup to overthrow a tyrannic government. And someone within that coup was then put in charge. And then 4 years later, he led a coup to take that guy out because he was being a tyrant. Like this dude helped pull off two coups in 4 years, even against some people that he used to fight alongside because they were being tyrants. Came to America to get a master's degree in international politics, went back to Sierra Leone, and now he's the president, rebuilding democracy and taking out corruption in what might have been the country that you think of when you think of failed states and coups, Sierra Leone. And so I get so frustrated when what happened in the Capitol is being described as a coup because I don't want to give these people that much credit. They are not revolutionaries. They're a bunch of morons who are believing all these crazy conspiracy theories. And I also think that there's a very negative connotation when we think of coup. And granted, I think that has been earned because there are some coups that overthrew democratically elected governments, coups that overthrew governments that were not tyrants, but overthrown by people who wanted to be tyrants. The United States backing up a fair amount of those. You know, you see that all the shit's been going on in America and what happened yesterday. It's like a scene out of a third world countries that we would once invade. And when I think of coup, I think of coups that we helped lead and really screwed over democracy. I think of Iran in the 1950s when we helped lead a coup against the democratically elected Mohammad Mossadegh with help of the UK to keep the Shah in power because the Shah was more aligned with our values. And so what really makes a legit coup is when there's a consolidation of power. And these people are not trying to consolidate power. These people are morons. They ran into the Capitol to cause a muck, but like they wouldn't consolidate any power. They don't know how to. They're not smart enough to do that. All they could do is kick their feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk and tear down nameplates and just trash the place. Those people are not revolutionaries. It's not a coup. It was just a violent, gross uprising against our government, trashing one of our most sacred buildings. But what scares me is thinking back to the coup that we helped support in Iran in the 1950s, because the people celebrating in the streets were Iranian people who supported the Shah. But that coup only happened because of our resources. And to make a coup successful is you need to have an abundance of like-minded people. And if some of those like-minded people have the resources you need, you can be successful. So I don't think that there's going to be a coup in the US Capitol anytime soon, no matter how many of these people they bring in. What scares me is that there could be something like that at a smaller scale. And the reason I say that is because you saw the events that happened. You saw how the people got into the Capitol. There are people in power who share those ideologies. You saw Capitol Police just let people in and take down barriers. You saw a Capitol police officer take a selfie with someone raiding the Capitol. You saw during the Black Lives Matter movements, police officers gassing, beating innocent protesters. A police officer in Buffalo nearly killing an innocent old man by throwing him down to the sidewalk. There are people with legitimate power, with legitimate authority who share these ideologies. And so what scares me is that while an abundance of these morons storm the Capitol won't do anything, what happens when you have abundance of those morons and people who share their views who have power? That's what scares me, because the people who storm the Capitol, that might have just been a bunch of idiots who I see as traitors to the country, as delusional, while they succeeded in doing nothing the other day, there's a possibility that if they wanted to, could find the people that they're looking for, who have the power and resources that they're looking for. And while there's not going to be a coup in DC, like DC has fallen or something like that, man, if they want to take a small city in the South or Midwest, they could. They theoretically could. And that's what scares me, because that's what leads to civil unrest.
Well, I was going to come in here with some "fuck you, Betsy DeVos," but okay.
I mean, we can do that too. I just really need to get that off my chest.
I think you're spot on a lot of the points. I think you're right that they're morons, but I also think I don't know how much of it was planned, not planned. I think a lot of it was mob mentality. Like, oh, we're 500 people versus one cop. We're going to take over, this hallway. Oh no, we're going to take over the Capitol. You know what I mean? Like it was just like a bunch of people having kind of a mob rule scene. So I don't think it was as detailed as a coup was.
Oh, they had no plan.
But
no plan at all. So what worries me is what happens if they do start forming a plan.
But here's the thing. I think their plan wasn't like strategic. Like, we're going to take over this spot. There's people there wearing Civil War January 6, 2021 t-shirts and sweatshirts. So they had a plan to like do something.
Well, to be fair, they kind of succeeded with it. They succeeded in halting the certification of the votes.
Correct. And
let's be honest, they kind of succeeded. I mean, not for the long run, but I mean, they interrupted.
And the most important thing, the most important thing that happened yesterday, January 6th, is that the Congress came back and finished the job. That's the most important thing.
Agreed.
And it shows everyone. It shows the people who participated in that. It shows us, the worried citizens that are looking on, and it showed the world that democracy doesn't stop for a couple thousand angry people.
Exactly. So that was my, I'm not trying to be like an alarmist here. I just could not help think that.
But
what if these people have time to actually prepare something? Like, that's what scares me, is that you have these politicians right now who are saying, oh, like, we don't condone this, but like you have people in the House who still object. You have people in the House spreading this. Oh, these people were actually Antifa disguised as Trump supporters. Like, you have people with legitimate power here. Like, that's what terrifies me.
Absolutely.
I believe that democracy will prevail, because I try to be optimistic about these things. But god damn, like, if yesterday I've been saying that something like this was going to happen for months. That's what happens when you take democracy for granted and piss all over it. But god damn, if that didn't wake up some people. This has been a
long time coming. I'm sure it did wake up some people, but at the same time, all these people in power, there was a headline in the Globe today, is the GOP had been playing with flames, and this is what happened. And that is what happened. They've been inciting this for over 4 years, but really ramped it up over the last 4 years, where they're backing this guy who has no regard for democracy, and they just stood by him and defended him at every turn, and not once were like, hey, let's calm it down a little bit. Nothing on multiple unconstitutional things that he's done. Never spoke out against him. And then yesterday, when their lives are at risk, when their families' lives are at risk, they're finally saying, "Ooh, okay, let's calm down." Like, go fuck yourself. Like, going into yesterday, I texted you. I said, there's a 5% chance that Mitch McConnell's head ends up on a stake by the end of tonight. And I wasn't even kidding about that. But for the first time, these morons, their constituents, they're showing how scary these people are. Like
Can you imagine?
these Congress people feared for their lives yesterday. So like, I'm glad it was a wake up, but with 2 weeks left in this, like, it's ridiculous. Like, go fuck yourself. You cannot now start going, let's distance from Trump. Like, go fuck yourself.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall in whatever bunker that they are hunkered down in when they shuffled Mike Pence in, close the door, and all the Democrat senators just turn their heads and look at him and go, "Hey, Mike, you have some splaining to do."
Seriously, like there were reports that came out today that Mike Pence was furious of what happened yesterday. Like, go fuck yourself. You've been enabling this. You've been standing behind him without saying a word for the last 4 years. Like, seriously, it's ridiculous.
And it took it
This
till
is
like,
what people wanted. And you can't go and say, well, we didn't want this. Yes, you did.
and it
This
took
is
the
building up for years.
and it took the final hour for him to do the right thing. Him and McConnell. It took until 2 weeks to go
Oh, let's
for
not
him.
forget about Mitch McConnell's heroic speech yesterday before all the unrest happened, where he so
Listen,
heroically said, okay, we should certify the vote.
I've
And then Ted Cruz coming on 39% of Americans don't believe the election was legitimate. Yeah, no
I
shit.
I have more of an issue with Lindsey Graham's speech than McConnell's speech.
Yeah,
I didn't hear
because Lindsey Graham, who was against Trump in 2015 and 2016, and then flushed his spine down the toilet after he was president, all of a sudden yesterday, Lindsey Graham is just sticking his arm into a pile of shit, trying to pull his spine back out. No, Lindsey, you flushed that shit down the toilet a long time ago.
And-
You can shut the hell up.
And Ted Cruz did the opposite because he ran against Trump in 2016 and hated Trump. Now he's like one of Trump's biggest allies in the Senate.
I was so mad at his speech. I try not to listen to him because he's been one of my least favorite people in politics for a while. But the audacity to say we have a problem with democracy in this country because 39% of Americans don't believe the election was legitimate. Yeah, because you're spewing all this crap. Like, as
why do you
as our good friend Trevor Bauer once said,
no relation.
Alex?
No relation. No relation.
Could have got him on the pod.
I know. Him and my uncle Eddie Bauer.
Yes. Yeah, him and Eddie Bauer, yes. As our friend Trevor Bauer would say, you're either lying or you're a fucking idiot, and you don't become a senator of a state by being a fucking idiot, so you're lying. Obviously, those were changed for talking about the owner of the Houston Astros, so but a little freedom right there, but the message is the same. Like, know what you've been doing.
I hate the argument saying our biggest problem is we just want to change the laws around the election and change the electoral process. And it's like, you want to change the laws that allow more people to vote? Got it. Oh, you want to change the laws because now Black people can actually vote? Oh, got it. You racist pricks.
Wow, there's a lot of fire coming in today. I like this.
I'm hot now. I got my intellectual stuff off, and now I'm hot.
Sad.
I'm ready to go.
There's still so many things to unpack. We haven't even talked about
It's sad. It's sad that people believe the nonsense that's being spewed by elected officials, and it's sad that it had to come to people storming the Capitol, and it's sad that it had to come on a day that's the counting of the electoral votes for the Senate. That takes 45 minutes. In the past, when
they stormed it in an hour.
When Joe Biden presided over Donald Trump winning and the Senate certifying it, it was 46 minutes.
Yeah, and people, even the people that spoke out against it, he was like, "Come on now, like, come on, let's go." Like Mitch McConnell was saying in his speech after so heroically, Mitch McConnell, so stunning and brave he is for certifying the election. Unbelievable that he was. Mitch McConnell's the hero. You mean he's doing his job? Got it. He came out and started saying, even though Democrats always hold it up, it's like not like this. Like,
right?
Come on.
And I think that was kind of my overall. I mean, I'm glad you guys are coming in with a fire, and I think I'm just too sad to be angry. because
Oh no, I'm pissed.
it's
It's outrageous.
no,
There's so many just outrageous things.
and I am too. Not to say that I'm not pissed. It's just I think the level of sadness has just been like it's just we've been seeing this for like 4 years, and there's been so many flashpoints with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all those protests, and even before that, what Trump's inauguration numbers where he's just lying through the teeth. It's like we've been dealing with this since day one, and for it to come to a boiling point where violence is used is just depressing, to be honest.
But I don't even know if I would call it a boiling point. I think this could continue. Like,
Oh, yeah,
why is this going to stop?
Well, absolutely. And listen, I can make a point that violence has been incited by these people. If you look at the amount of violent hate crimes in this country against Latinos, against Muslims, have skyrocketed. Hate crimes against Muslims have absolutely skyrocketed, even as we've been. And like, why do you think? Oh, because we're going to ban Muslims from certain countries from immigrating. They're all on. We had a president who said, oh, they need to be on lists so we can track them in their doings, to fight terrorism, even though our terrorism is clearly white and homegrown. Like, these people have been resorting to violence. This has been the first time it was inside a federal building. They've been attacking people. You've seen Asian Americans get harassed by these conspiracists who think that they brought the coronavirus here.
Right. No, absolutely. The thing that enrages me the most out of everything that happened yesterday is the double standard of the cops just taking selfies, opening the gates. They're interviewing some of the protesters, rioters, insurrectionists, whatever you want to call them, and they were talking about, yeah, the cops are just walking around the building just talking with us. Like, that's infuriating, because 100%, if that was something that happened after George Floyd, or if just a Black Lives Matter protest,
hundreds of dead bodies on the
hundreds of dead bodies, thousands of arrests. 68 people were arrested yesterday.
I think there'd be a drone if this was Black Lives Matter. Like, they would have brought out drones.
The entire military would be at the U.S. Capitol within 10 minutes.
The entire military was at a courthouse in Portland, Oregon.
Correct. Right. So the fact that it took
Trump
the National Guard
originally.
Right.
And then was basically overruled. Like, what do you mean you don't want the National Guard? There are people storming the Capitol.
That's the most infuriating thing, because people are always going to believe in conspiracy theories, and it's sad that it has to come to them storming the Capitol. Like, it should never come to that. But the most infuriating thing is the people with the responsibility, the security, the cops, the politicians, those people who go with it and are okay, and let for this to happen. The most infuriating is the people with the voices, with the most powerful voices, give credence to this by just giving it the light of day, and that's wrong.
I mean, honestly, this hasn't been one of the biggest security just meltdowns or security threats in the last few weeks. You're seeing reports that the Pentagon has been withholding vital information for the Biden transition team. Like, I'm sorry, how do you want to fight terrorism either here or abroad if you don't even want to give the guy crucial security information? Like, this
because it makes them look bad. They don't actually
exactly. No, they don't. No, exactly. They don't. This administration does not care about security. They do not care. They only care about themselves.
I agree with you.
Correct.
I mean, I think just the way I think about things is, you try to stay positive, and you try to look forward, looking ahead, and you just hope that this is just a flashpoint where people kind of wake up and be like, this has gone too far.
We've been saying this for years now. Oh, this will be the moment. This will be the moment. The election, when people stood outside.
Well, what else?
Guns to polling places. This is the moment.
So there's gonna have to be a lesson to take away from this. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just something that we just sit here and be angry about.
The only reason why so many Republicans, if this happened,
that's
if this happened 6 months ago before the election, right? Do you think this many Republican senators and congressmen or women would have come out so defiant against Trump? No.
No, yeah.
No way. This is a time right now where
This is
they're like,
all-
oh wait, we can get off this ship right now. Let's go. 2 weeks.
But they can't get off the ship. Do you know why? Because I've kept all the receipts. I mean, seriously, this is literally Billy Zane going, I have a child in Titanic. That's
Right,
all these Republicans are Billy Zane. I have a child trying to get on the fucking lifeboat. And they're just fucking throwing black people aside to get to that lifeboat. Like, no, get out of here. Because I have kept all the receipts. I got receipts. Unlike Trump, I keep my receipts because I do my taxes. I've kept the receipts.
Some of my favorite moments on Twitter are people bringing up the receipts for Kellyanne Conway or some of those other officials who would talk about the protests that we had and who just own the violence and are saying to the crowd right before this happened was like, Giuliani trial by combat, Donald Trump Jr. saying that we should fight for every vote and stuff like that. Like they're using this rhetoric for themselves, but then they look down upon on other protests that have gone violent. You know what I mean?
They're black and
correct, right? No, yeah, they're absolutely racist. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I don't even like comparing. A lot of people like compare, like, oh, look at this compared to this. I don't even want to compare it because burning down a target and attempting to stop the certification of an election are two very different things.
No, you're 100%. They should not be compared because one is fighting the racism and the injustice, death of a U.S. citizen. The other, they're just mad they lost. You know what I mean? Like they're
just in complete denial. And I mean, that's the problem is I see just, you have Fox
They're
News
two different things.
And all these people saying, well, are people just trashing Jaylen Brown? Okay, Jaylen, where was the outcry when they were burning down cities? Where's the outcry for the women that got killed in all this and blah, blah. And it's just like, well, let's see. Jaylen Brown was leading peaceful protests in his home city. There is not an outcry for the woman who got killed because she stormed the Capitol, something that you people say that your own president said when the looting starts, the shooting starts. And third, one of those protests were just based on facts. The fact that black people are more likely to get killed by police, the fact that a innocent black person was recently choked to death by the knee of a police officer. Those are facts. The election being stolen from the American people and Trump supporters, not a fact. I'm sorry, I'm not going to compare two protests, one based on facts and actual justice, and the other one based on falsehood. And I can also break down, let's just look at him at a macro DC level. If we're just talking DC, I could talk about federal buildings in Portland, but no, we're just going to talk about DC during the summer and today during protests. DC did not burn down. There weren't police officers killed at any point during these protests over the summer, even though a Capitol Hill police officer got killed yesterday. DC did not burn down. There was graffiti and stuff, maybe some broken glass, but federal buildings were not raided. But let's see, they maced, gassed, and beat the crap out of innocent protesters because I don't care what you say about what happened in other cities and some isolated instances, other cities, the DC Black Lives Matter protests were peaceful and they got gassed and got gassed again for a photo op. And now we have this in the same city in a more sacred building in one of the most sacred parts of that city. And they did nothing. And it's back to the point I made earlier. It's because there's people within these institutions who believe in these ideas and ideologies. When you have Black Lives Matter protesters lined up against cops, that is a you versus me mentality. They are not on the same page. When you have these right-wing people lined up with these police officers, some of them, it's me versus you, not on the same page. But some of them, they were on the same page. You're not taking a selfie with a guy if you're not on the same page. You take a selfie with a guy when you are on the same page. You just open up the barriers like you're letting people into Black Friday at Target because you were on the same page.
I'm with you 100%. And there were peaceful protests in Portland. The National Guard was sent and became violent. These people were clearly violent, and no National Guard was.
Portland was also 2 blocks. I like to point out that the whole Portland's being occupied by Antifa. It was the block that the courthouse was on, and then another block. And also, Antifa is like not even a group. It's just a set of ideologies, meaning that yes, you're pretty far left. It also means you're anti-fascist. So if you're anti-Antifa, then you're anti-fascism. I know these people don't understand the logic of double negatives, but that makes you fascist. So do what you want with that information.
It's good to know.
It's good insight.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm hot right now. I thought I was going to come into this being I'm going to be cool as a cucumber. I'm going to be intellectual. I'm going to think about this, and now I'm riled up. You know what? I'll be I'll be poli sci. Maybe play a little devil's advocate. Look at both angles. I try to look at both angles from this, but I can't. Like, it's one thing if you want to march on DC and because you are pro-life and want to make abortion illegal and you're marching on the mall of DC. You know what? I totally disagree with you, but fine. That is a political subject, a political topic where there are pretty much 2 sides.
Let me
and you
ask
disagree with one another. This is just falsehoods. This is conspiracy theories that these people have bought into, and they think that they are being oppressed by the government that is in power. They support the government that's been in power for 4 years, the government that's still in power, and they say they're being oppressed. Okay, oppressed by who? Because the people you support are the ones technically ruling you.
You know what? When the newly Democratic majority Senate passes $2,000 checks, everybody that participated in that doesn't get their $2,000 check. Let's see how angry they're at the government. Let's just see how much they want to be part of the government by then. But I want to know. I want to get your opinion on something. Since you are so hot.
Abortion?
Are we about to just solve the entire country right now? Xander and I were driving back from we were waiting in line for like 40 minutes at Treehouse Brewery to pick up some craft beer, and we pretty much solved America in that time.
That should have been recorded. That should have been your episode.
Should have been. You know who never has lines? Allagash Brewery Company in Portland, Maine. Check out Allagash.
Sipping on knowledge with Allagash White.
If we're throwing out quotes here from Trevor Bauer, I got one from Mark Twain here. That's pretty funny. He said one time, I forgot, I don't know if this was in the speech or one of his writings. He said, "Suppose you're an idiot. Now suppose you're a member of Congress. Oops, I've repeated myself."
Oh.
Anyways, I wanted to get your opinion.
Oh, wait, let me get you one more. Okay, come back to the Instagram captions now. If pro is the opposite of con, is that why the opposite of progress is Congress?
Well,
I hope the New Yorker is listening to this.
That was
They're not.
Capturing our political.
All right, Bauer, what's your question?
No, I just wanted to get your guys' opinions on, like, where do we go from here? Like, do we just completely shut out that faction of people thinking? Do we try to listen to them?
I think no, fuck them. I don't like to say their opinions don't matter. No.
They're not opinions, though. They're not opinions. They are saying what they think is facts, but they're not facts. It's falsehoods. There's between opinion, fact, and falsehood.
Falsehood, correct. I also agree, fuck them. That is very well said.
So hold on. Here's my huge issue right now, is that these people for years are always like, we're so underrepresented. No one in the country ever listens to us. Okay, look, you have the president and you have Congress right now, and you won some seats in the House in the midterms. And this is what you decided to do and this is what you wanted to show as your party, as you being underrepresented. This is what you did. Like, screw you. You did nothing positive for the country. You spewed hate, and you just did things the complete opposite of American values. What I think is going to happen, what I would hope what would happen, is that there's a group of traditional Republicans who may have voted Trump, may not have, in this past election. But there's a group of Republicans who say, this is not my party. And it's not. I mean, it is and it isn't. I mean, this is definitely to the extreme, but I mean, there's definitely a group of Republicans that are just fiscally conservative, don't believe that it's government's responsibility to provide services, and they don't want government interfering in their lives. And that's totally fine. I mean, that is a conservative ideology. But you have this mess of part of the GOP that, while they agree with that, think a little bit more radically. And I don't think that's going to go away because they've just had this taste of, oh, we're the best right now. Look at us. We can do anything.
You can't put this gene back in the bottle. You brought up a good point of Republicans who are just fiscally Republican, and that's about it. They don't believe in all this hate stuff. I mean, to be a fly on the wall in John Kasich's house. Oh, that poor man. And like, I will always say this when we talk about politics, and I hate to be an asshole, but if people fucking listened to me in the 2016 election, we wouldn't be in this mess.
Like, I mean, there are people like that. There are people like Mitt Romney. Like, I mean, you can disagree with him on a lot of policy things, but he's not an asshole. Like he's not. He does not
look
actively
at George Bush's statement yesterday. Like George Bush, who I disagree with on a lot of things.
War criminal.
Like
people think he's a war criminal.
Yes.
I mean, but at least.
But he came out and like the
he's
dude's
not actively trying
to
get black people killed. Like,
and he's not actively trying to divide
just
the
Middle
country. The man just wants to watercolor, and he's watching all this crap go down.
No, like that's the thing. I mean, I think I truly believe Mitt Romney, John Kasich, George Bush. I truly believe that at the end of the day, they sincerely wanted what was best for America. And
that's the thing is
Donald Trump does not want what is best for America. His supporters do not want what is best for America. There are a lot of people in politics that do not want what is best for America on both sides. Both sides have those types of people. Like Bernie Sanders, I disagree with him a ton. He's 80 years old or whatever he is. If he did not love this country, he does not need to be doing what he's doing. I sincerely believe he loves America. Yeah. I, again, do not agree with him on a lot of things, but like,
well, that's because the people that you've mentioned are career politicians. They know how politics work, how politics work. You give some, you take some. It's all about it's all about discussion. It's all about looking at oneself and learning and growing and all that stuff. Donald Trump only cares about him and his family. That's it. Goodbye.
But there are plenty of other career politics. Like Mitch McConnell does not give a fuck about Kentucky. Like Lindsey Graham does not care about America.
Again, he's not spewing the conspiracies about trying to steal the election.
Lindsey Graham?
No, not McConnell.
No, but McConnell has spewed some other crap. Like, I'm sorry.
Whoa. I hate McConnell as much as you guys right now, but he didn't come out yesterday and give credence.
Not yesterday. Yeah, fucking Capitol's being raided. He didn't come out yesterday.
Whoa, I'm talking about yesterday. He didn't come out and say that we should object to all this.
Yeah, but he could. He was pressed on it many times before and after the election.
Whoa! I agree with you. He's a shrewd fucker of a man. I hate Mitch McConnell with all my heart. What I'm saying is those people are career politicians. They understand the political game. Donald Trump does not. He cares about himself, and he will throw all the rules out for him to have one extra week of power, one day of extra power. Look at what he did yesterday was inspire that group to go to the Capitol and perhaps be violent. Why? Because he wanted to stop what was going on there. And that's just not a politician. That's not an elected official. Donald Trump, since day one, since he decided to run for office, does not understand the power and the responsibility of a president. Even basic than that, he doesn't understand what it means to be an elected official.
I think he understands it. I don't think he doesn't care.
No, but
he doesn't understand. There's no understanding.
Okay, but someone like Ted Cruz, who continues to object the vote, who comes out and says, well, 39%. Ted Cruz, career politician, he understands that he's trying to lock in a base. Ted Cruz is one of these people who I don't think cares about America at all.
That's the downside.
That's the point we're getting at, is that, like, I don't consider Ted Cruz to be a true, like, conservative, because his like what Ted Cruz is spewing is anti-American. Like, and also, I'm sorry, like
Well-
I'm going to throw this sounds random, but hear me out. The photo of the guy waving the Confederate flag in the middle of the Capitol. If that is not an argument to start and get rid of the Confederate flag, because there's still politicians in there, career politicians, who are saying, like Ted Cruz and all these people, well, we can't get rid of the Confederate flag, blah, 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 blah. Do you want to get rid of the Confederate flag now? Because the symbol of treason was just being waved by people who raided your Capitol trying to commit treason again. Like,
so for you,
just real
for
quick
you-
before we leave that, real quick. Sorry, I need to interrupt you. Did you guys see the picture of it? But it was photoshopped with the Barstool flag.
no, but that's hilarious.
Okay, continue, Bauer.
No, I was just gonna. For you, what's the difference between Cruz and Romney? What's the difference?
I would say, as much as I disagree with some of the things that Romney says, Romney has a general decency to him and he respects democracy. What Ted Cruz was doing yesterday.
That's my point.
Yeah,
That's my
Ted
point.
Cruz is not respecting democracy.
Okay, then we're in agreement. That's my point. Is that there's people like Romney, like other Senate Republicans, that respect the process, respect the name of the game, and don't give credence to this. And that's kind of what I was kind of saying with McConnell. Up until yesterday, I agree with you 100%. He fucked a lot of things, and he sucks as a politician. And I wish he had lost in November. But he played the name of the game yesterday. He didn't cater.
Yes,
to the objections.
yesterday he did. I agree with you. Yes, yesterday he did.
That's what I'm saying. People like Donald Trump and then Pete brought up Ted Cruz don't understand that at all, and that's why those kind of people are the most dangerous of going forward.
Agreed. I think it's people who do not respect the social and electoral or democratic norms that we have put in place. And I forget who said it. I think he was a Republican politician who was against all the objections. He was saying it's not illegal to go against these norms, but what people like Ted Cruz don't understand is that if you start just taking away or breaking these norms, those have dire consequences.
I think Romney was against all the objections yesterday. I think he was the first.
Of course he
major
was,
one.
because he respects democracy.
Right, exactly, 100%. And look at 2016.
I mean, but like, think of what we're saying right now. We have made accepting the results of an election and certifying an election a partisan issue.
It's disgusting.
That's ridiculous.
It's disgusting. This I mean, for how ceremonious this event is supposed to be, this is supposed to be like a very boring event. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's supposed to be something that isn't really covered from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. This is something that is something that happens every 4 years, and we should expect it. And it's something that death, taxes, and the electoral college vote. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that just is. That's what we've been. That's who we are as a country and how our democracy works. So the fact that they really make a big deal out of this is kind of scary and wrong.
Okay, so transitioning from that, I want to kind of bring up something else that was really on my mind yesterday. We have spent so much money. I'm not even gonna go to like defense budgets or whatnot, like not even that.
16 trillion, remember?
Like, think of why we have the TSA right now. Think of why we have no fly list. What is it to protect? It's to protect the American way, democracy, and freedom, so no one can come here and take it. Like, what? That's not what the TSA is for?
I think it's for security reasons.
Yeah, security reasons to prevent terrorism.
But yeah,
right. To
okay,
prevent
but that
terrorism.
But the terrorism on planes has happened all over the world.
I'm saying I'm just using the TSA as one. I'm not only talking about airplanes. I'm just talking about in general. We spew all these resources. We have all the NSA stuff of spying on everyone to see when that next terrorist attack's gonna happen.
We had a president saying that we should
down.
surveillance mosques to prevent terrorism.
So, yes. So with all that put in place, the culmination of that was them just walking into the Capitol to stop democracy? Like, are we fucking kidding?
That's what I said earlier. That's
Like, these people are the definition of terrorism. They're terrorists. Like, sorry, like that's what they are. Like, they are domestic terrorists. I guarantee you, they will not be put on no-fly lists. Like they're gonna, the people that are in jail right now are not going to be put in jail like someone who was planning a traditional terrorist.
No, they're not going to be tried for any form of terrorism, which is ridiculous because they raided the Capitol, a place that has not been stormed or raided since the War of 1812.
Yeah.
These people are terrorists and they will not be held accountable, and that's despicable.
I was watching the news.
It brings back this entire discussion of the other underlying thing of, like, don't want to bring this up, but like yesterday continued to show how racist of a country we are.
Oh, this whole thing is privilege. Are you kidding me? Like
that privilege is racism.
Yeah, like, racism and privilege. Like, it is a privilege. I'm sorry. Like, that was white privilege.
It's not privilege to storm the Capitol. You can only do it, I guess, if you're white. Like, that's
what privilege is. That's what privilege is. Privilege is that you can be an absolute moron believing in wild conspiracy theories and raid the Capitol and not like and not only not die at the hands of police, but take a selfie with one of them. Yeah. How's that not privilege?
That's 100% privilege. And the
like,
guy
I think I don't think anyone with any sort of like Mediterranean pigment could get away with that. Like, you got to be very Caucasian to do that.
The guy on Pelosi's desk, that is literally white privilege.
Did you hear him talk? First off, he's bragging about it. Second off, you don't need to know he's from Arkansas to know he's from Arkansas.
By the way he talked. But then the third thing, he took a piece of mail and like took a picture of him stealing the mail. Like, that's another federal crime right there.
I was going to say, like, these people are literally committing federal felonies and posting it. Like,
yeah.
My favorite thing on Twitter was I thought breaking into a Capitol building was instant 5 stars on GTA.
Like, that's the thing. Yes. But
when I'm playing GTA, they got 6 helicopters and a tank if I try that. Like, how's Rockstar Games like being like have a better understanding of this than our own Capitol building?
Like, think about like the first time you walked by the White House. And I don't know this about you guys, but I'm sure one of the first things you saw were snipers on the roof of the White House. And then there's the White House gate, and then there's the lawn. And you probably said, wonder how far I could get if I hopped this fence. Probably about 15 feet. Or maybe I'd still be on the fence, right? Like, I thought if you just stormed one of these places, a sniper would take you out. Apparently not.
Well, also, what's kind of crazy is this wasn't like they came to the Capitol and the Congress wasn't in session. They were in the middle of doing one of their most important duties.
Exactly. It was not an average Wednesday at the
correct. This is not like they were like, oh, there's a handful of senators here, and most of them are on lunch break or are traveling. This is like a huge freaking deal.
That's why it's terrorism. It's not just people being mad and going into the like that would have been that would be one thing.
100%. But what I'm saying is this is one of the most important congressional days ever. That could happen. Where the hell is all the security?
Do you remember?
Well, because they were white, Bauer.
Correct. But do you remember in the movie Jackass 2? When Johnny Knoxville, Bam Margera, and Ryan Dunn went to that like security company, and the guy was like, "Yeah, this thing blasts like rubber pellets at like 1,500 feet per second. They have these outside of embassies." And then Johnny Knoxville was like, "Yeah, shoot me with that," and they just went down instantly. Like, where was that?
Yo, one of my favorite Jackass 2 moments for sure, 100%.
Like, I'm sorry, but like, how are the people I'm sorry, like, how do the people from Jackass seem like brighter individuals than the people storming the Capitol?
So, not to get too much off topic, but they did it twice. They did it for the first time just for the guy to show Johnny Knoxville and the crew. Yes. And my favorite part of that is it happens, and it's like this loud boom, and there's like the
And
pelts
Johnny
everywhere.
Knoxville's just laughing his ass off, and Ryan Dunn
Dunn
is just like, Jesus Christ.
Ryan Dunn literally turns to the camera and he's like, absolutely fucking not. He's like, fuck no.
You can even see how the police were dressed. Like you saw how they were dressed. They're just chilling in their regular everyday outfits.
They didn't have riot gear.
You know what
No.
the ultimate white privilege picture is the guy walking out with the podium and he's smiling. He's got the beanie on. It's like, if that dude was African American or Middle Eastern, he wouldn't even be he wouldn't even be taking a picture. He'd be already in handcuffs somewhere or dead.
I believe that man's name was Via Getty. Another great thing from Twitter. No, absolutely. And what's crazy is that the Capitol Police chief who resigned, he said, and I quote, "We were preparing for a First Amendment rally, but then it got out of control." That's another thing, white privilege. Oh, so if it's white people, it's a First Amendment rally, but if it's black people, it's not. I'm pretty sure all rallies in Washington, D.C. are First Amendment rallies. They're just about different things. They're just using the First Amendment. Like, this wasn't like, I mean, yeah, outside the Capitol, technically, yeah, is a First Amendment rally, but that's another whole thing. Like, that's another white privilege, is him saying it was supposed, we were expecting a First Amendment rally. Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
It meant that they were not expecting black people.
Correct. Yes, that. What does that mean? It means that.
It just goes to show the failure of local law enforcement. They failed. They failed at their job yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. Being the Capitol Police seems like making sure no one infiltrates the Capitol seems like you had a one type of job kind of job.
I mean, there's so many great Twitter moments yesterday, sad Twitter moments, but also great Twitter moments. Probably my top 5 is someone cut the scene of the town where the cop turns away, looks away from the robbers, and is like, this is how DC police treats you.
What an amazing pull. I actually watched The Town for the first time like 2 weeks ago. So that's hilarious.
It's a great scene. I thought I'd throw some Boston in there, but I think Alex, you said earlier, Gmail security is more tighter than the Capitol building security.
Yeah, to log in on a new device. I mean, there's a bunch of them, just like different bars. Just
My favorite was it's harder to storm the football field after a big win than it is to storm the Capitol, which is true, because I remember I wanted to storm the field after we upset ranked Washington State my freshman year, and they were ready to tase me. Like, are you kidding me? Like, how is the fat private security company at U of A football games more willing to tase a white person than Capitol security?
I think one of my low-key favorite ones was someone posted a picture of Gordon Hayward and pretended that they were Agent Wojnarowski and literally said, "Gordon Hayward out, protest for tonight's game."
No, hold on, let me find this Peter filibuster for me for a second. I want to find the other one that I really liked.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall in Ted Cruz's house right now.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
I like this game, Fly on the Wall. Oh, I'd love to be. Oh, to be a fly on the wall in Melania's separate bedroom.
Okay, here, I found it. It's Charlotte Hornet fans everywhere with their fingers crossed that no one bumps into Gordon Hayward breaking his bird bones at the Capitol riots today.
I don't know what everyone's got against Gordon Hayward.
Because he's a MAGA.
Is he really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
I mean, that's why Capitol Police wasn't there. They're all with Robin.
Yeah, they're all there. Apparently, Duncan Robinson's MAGA too.
Really?
Does that surprise you? He's just a white guy.
He's from Maine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about the other guy on the Heat? What's his name? Who insists on standing during the national anthem when the rest of his team is all kneeling?
Is Jordan watching Bam right now?
What?
Is Jordan watching Bam right now?
No, the Heat are off tonight, I think.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't Duncan Robinson. It was Heat player.
Miles.
Yeah, that sounds right. Heat player standing. Perfect.
Is it Birdman?
No, Myers Leonard.
Oh, Myers
Yeah.
Leonard. Yes. He's the guy who gets really hype on the bench, but he refuses to kneel. He only stands.
Yeah, because he does not. I don't understand how you can be in a profession that is like 70 to 80% African American, and all of them saying, hey, kneeling for the anthem has nothing to do with military. And then he goes out last night and still has the audacity to tweet a picture of himself standing, saying, I stand with my brothers against racism. I stand against violence, and I stand for like my brother who fought. It's like, you're so stupid.
They're tone deaf.
I'm happy we finally tied this into sports because Jaylen Brown needs to be president of the United States, but that's a whole different thing. I was watching on Sky Sports News that they broadcast on NBC, like an interview with the Green Beret who like supported Kaepernick and gave him the idea of kneeling. Like it's amazing how like a lot of people in England and a lot of like EPL and EFL fans were against this kneeling because they're saying, why are we kneeling? Like, this is an America problem. And it's like, well, you're clearly showing it's more than an America problem. Like all these racist Millwall fans who are booing their players for kneeling. It is amazing how the world is looking at us. I mean, these Western are genuinely like heartbroken for us. Like, yeah, they were laughing at us for the first 2 years, but now it's just like, oh, this country with a failing democracy and insurrections, and they're all getting killed off by disease. Like that's post-colonial Africa. Like that's what we are right now. And they're viewing us and they generally feel bad for us. And because the world is becoming so globalized, I can speak to this for sports. Like the kneeling around the world, around the US, like that is not going unnoticed. There might be people in the US who are saying,
Premier League.
who are saying, congratulations, you kneeled, you're not doing anything, go back to doing your job, blah, blah, blah. Like these absolute morons, like they are doing something. Like
Every Premier League game starts with the kneeling.
every soccer game in Europe starts
Yeah.
with a kneel pretty much. Like we become so globalized now that that's maybe one of my things I'm very optimistic about is like we're not alone in this. Like
Also,
this isn't just an America problem. You see countries like Hungary and Poland who are really hurting from far right fascism. Like we are not alone in this. And I really think, I don't know if I'm saying this as a sports fan or someone who like studies the political and cultural aspect of sports, but like sports fans around the world are uniting for this, uniting against racism, uniting against fascism. So if there's like one good takeaway is that like there are people in Europe who are idolizing Jaylen Brown for what he's doing.
Also, the Kaepernick kneeling, not that much of big of a deal now, is it?
About to say, yeah, well, why can't they protest in a more respectful manner? Really? Because that was the biggest complaint. How dare they kneel? What a disrespectful way to protest. And what happened yesterday at the Capitol was what type of protest? Because trust me, I have seen
it's anti-American to kneel for the flag.
The fact that there were people bashing the Celtics for kneeling yesterday, saying that was a disrespectful protest, hours after what might have been the most disrespectful protest in American history.
Like, it wasn't a protest.
I mean, yeah, not a protest, insurrection, but no, it was a protest. Fine, I'll play into their hand that was a quote unquote protest. Go fuck yourself.
Can I bring
and fuck Betsy DeVos? We cannot pepper that in enough in this episode. I don't know if we should call this episode "We Kept Receipts" or "Fuck Betsy DeVos." We kept receipts is definitely safer, but oh god, fuck Betsy DeVos.
Hey Pete, I have a question for you. What is Mitch McConnell's wife gonna do for the next 2 weeks because she so bravely resigned yesterday? She's
gonna take another vacation day. Another vacation day.
Bauer, do you know the story behind this woman?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
She's literally the worst person that you could pick for education.
Did I? No,
not DeVos. McConnell's wife.
McConnell's wife?
Secretary of Transportation.
I know that she was the first to resign.
Well, do you know she doesn't, her?
You can't resign if you don't work half the time. Like she actually doesn't work.
Did you see all this stuff that came out again about her?
I didn't go into detail, but it was the news report when she resigned. They mentioned that she's barely around.
Politico, I don't know how they got this, but they had access to her calendar, and there were the equivalent of, I think, 40 days off that she took. Or sorry, there was the equivalent of, I think, I forgot how the exact amount, but it was a gigantic amount of hours that were on her schedule that were marked as private. And 85% of them, or 80 something percent of them, happened either on Mondays or Friday afternoons.
Mondays or Friday afternoons.
Yeah. Here, let me, Peter, filibuster, I'll find it.
Oh, to be a fly
Wait.
on the wall in Betsy DeVos's house.
I need your guys' take on something.
Yeah.
All right, go for it. I'll filibuster.
It's a little, actually, it's not. It's a lot off topic. Francisco Lindor, a new Met.
Smiley.
Do we not care?
Oh, to be a fly on the wall in
The-
Queens.
The Indians, or I don't know if I can say that now, the Cleveland baseball team
Oh, to be a fly on the wall at Progressive Field.
got
Home of the
absolutely,
Cleveland baseball team.
got absolutely shafted. And the Cubs trading Darvish, yeah, for some 18-year-olds, like, oh great. See you guys in 5 years when I care about baseball again.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall in San Diego. Petco Park. What a lineup they are building. Xander, you have it pulled up yet? I'm running out of flies.
Here, I'm just gonna share my screen, even though we're
This is an
Wow, this is
wow.
fancy.
Screen sharing for an audio medium. Hope you know I'm trying to fast track this to get this out, so I'm trying to do minimal editing, but thank you.
No, we want you to do lots of editing.
Okay.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall in Pete's room when he's working on Audacity.
Okay, so there were quote unquote private appointments. There were 131 hours on Fridays over 14 months. Oh, there was okay. So there were 290 hours of appointments labeled private, which is the equivalent of 7 weeks.
Jeez. Yeah. Well, the same thing with Kelly Loeffler with her fucking husband.
Right in the swamp, right, Bauer?
Hey, well,
Here's the thing. I'm going to kind of go out right here and say something a little radical.
What a great start to a sentence.
Had Donald Trump gone through his overall mission and quote drained the swamp, like I think people would be pretty happy with him.
If Donald Trump delivered $2,000 checks in August, he's president right now. Still.
Agreed. But I mean, seriously, if he came in and said he was going to drain the swamp, and
but he doesn't know what that means. Like, that's what I'm saying. He's not a politician.
He knows what that means. He just doesn't.
No, he doesn't know what that means. He doesn't know what that means.
Get rid of the corrupt politicians. Oh, maybe he doesn't. Yeah, get rid of the corrupt politicians, then put already corrupt people in their places, which would then in turn also make them corrupt politicians.
To put corrupt businessmen in their places. But what I'm saying is he's a TV guy. He's a catchphrase guy. Make America great again. Drain the swamp. Lock her up.
Lock her up. Drain the swamp.
It's all 3 syllables. Send them home. Build a wall.
It's like
racism's really catchy in 3 syllables. Let me tell you.
That's all he does, and then he complains Obama and all these people read off of teleprompters when it's exactly what he does too. So it's like, yeah, he
can't even read.
No, but all I'm saying is, had he drained the swamp and not just put corrupt people into his cabinet, it would have been more likable. But you can't go and do that stuff.
Well, it's sad and depressing to see where it all leads. I think on a previous episode, I did talk about how I did rewatch some of the debates, the Republican debates from 2016. It's pretty easy to see how he got elected.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think going into the 16 election, I think it was very shocking that he was elected, but for me, it was about an hour and a half after he was going to win. I forget. He didn't exactly hit 270, but he wasn't going to lose like Alaska. I forget what the time was, but like you kind of got it. You're like, oh, okay. There's a bunch of not very educated people who think that their problems are caused by people of color, and they think that this guy is going to tell them it's okay to continue to think like that. You're not wrong.
I mean, it's those people who just felt left behind by Democrats who weren't necessarily wrong for thinking that. Like, he won a
100%.
lot of those Midwestern states because they felt left behind. And then he
And-
lost those Midwestern states. Like, if you voted for Trump in 2016, but then didn't vote for him in 2020, like, you know what, props to you. Like, I understood why people voted for him in 2016.
Absolutely.
And if you voted against him in 2020, honestly, props to you. Like a good learning moment, and you still like believe in some core values. I still found it. I thought he was going to lose in a landslide 2020. I did find it shocking that there are still 70 million people who saw what he did in the last 4 years and said, yep, I want that again. Like, that is literally like eating a bowl of ice cream with dog poop in it, finishing it, and then say, I'm going to have another. Like, I don't know what.
I have
what
another
you're
because I don't
tasting.
like pistachio.
I don't understand it, but I also think how he's handled himself the last 2 months has driven away a lot more people.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like there's he hasn't obviously confirmed
Georgia's
anything, but
blue. Like, how do we not talk about that? That
Well,
Georgia is blue. Like,
and
not
Trump
just for
cost him that.
president, for the Senate. Like, that is
Trump cost him that,
unbelievable.
though. Trump cost him that
Yes.
Yeah.
by not focusing on that race, by focusing on that he would win the election. People got tired of that and it was like, no.
Are we just going to forget how he called the Secretary of State of Georgia and tried to
Oh, it was
persuade
awful.
him to change an election? Like, that's worse than the Nixon tapes, and we are totally going to forget about it.
I don't think we totally are.
I don't know. I don't know. Will the 60 Minutes include that in the little hour-long special about this? Like, Scott Pelley's like, leading up to this, he had a phone call.
That's a pretty significant and big moment, and the fact that we have a tape of it too. It's like it'd be totally different if it was a word of mouth and it's Trump's word versus the Secretary of State's word.
I like NBC, all these people like post it. Like, I listened to a good amount of it.
Yeah, it's
and
awful.
I didn't understand most of it. He was bumbling half the time. It's incredible.
It's
not incredible, but still.
It's mind blowing that it came to that for him. And a lot of people were comparing this to Nixon, and the main difference is Nixon was just trying to like spy on people, and this guy's trying to steal an election. I think. What else? Are we missing something?
I mean, it's like close to 11 o'clock. I need to edit all this shit too.
I feel like you're coming down from your anger high.
Yeah,
I'm still pretty angry, to be honest with you.
I
wasn't angry. I was just hot. I was feeling it.
Again, I think part of me realizes that like in 2 weeks we can start another chapter where
we can start another chapter. It's not going to be gone though. There's no way it's going to be gone. I mean, we're going to be hearing about.
Hey, listen. There's still 9/11 conspiracists.
It's true.
There's people who are crazy conspiracists out there. Here's the thing. Here's how we handled it. We don't give them primetime television. We don't give them a spotlight. The senators, the congressmen, the people in power that want to spew this hate, they should be removed from office. If you want, like Pete said earlier, if you want to spew this hate, go to a small town in Alabama. Spew all the hate you want there. No one gives a fuck. But the elected officials, president, congressman, secretary of this, secretary of that, they shouldn't be giving these theories spotlight. That's it. That's how you end it.
But we're getting to the point now where
we need adults in the room again.
But even in this past election, and it definitely will be so in 2024, where you're going to have these House members that are they're like, oh, this is how you win an election down in Tuscaloosa, like this tactic works. Like
there was a House member from Alabama who literally tweeted that, oh, my reports are saying that these were Antifa disguised as Trump protesters, which, I mean, granted, I guarantee Antifa probably has a lot of theater majors, but come on, like they weren't pulling that off. Like that's impossible. He's like, Antifa are not Daniel Day-Lewis being character actors. If they are, give them an Oscar because that is incredible. But like, get that out of here.
It's just all craziness. Like
The guy with the speed up on Arkansas and then called into local media bragging is actually Tanner from LA and makeup. It's actually part of a Sacha Baron Cohen Borat 3.
oh, that I could see
There
that.
we go.
Or it's just a really insane episode of Nathan For You. My plan: get all these people to storm the Capitol to get the bullhorn industry more publicity, and my plan worked.
Yeah.
You know, so many people are buying those bullhorn, or not bullhorns, but like legit like horns.
The
Yeah,
Viking horns.
yeah, the Viking horns, and that man is describes himself as the QAnon shaman, and of course he is from fucking Arizona, which is why we cannot have nice things in that state.
My favorite part about him is that there are all these pictures of him.
You have a
coming
favorite
out.
part?
The Giuliani's pretty good, if I'm being honest. If I had to have a favorite part about a QAnon shaman from Arizona, it's the photo with Giuliani.
My favorite part is all of them are very easily identifiable.
Oh, their tattoos. Well, no, I'm saying my favorite part was that everyone
just-
used his tattoos to identify him, and they're like, "Look at him. He's at these Black Lives Matter protests." And then the next person posts a larger image of it that reveals that he's on the other side of the Black Lives Matter protest, protesting against them.
My favorite news that I heard today was, I forgot who it was, what branch he came from, but one of the investigators said that they have family members of the people who participated in this calling in and helping identify. You got to be sick out of your mind if you're like your sister calls. It's like, yeah, that's my brother John, and he was there. Like,
Well, I was trying to say this earlier.
Fuck those people.
The mother-in-law of the of Ashley Babbitt or whatever her name was, the one that got shot and killed. Her statement, the quote that was up was, "I don't know why she went there." Like that's all you got. Congratulations, you got shot and killed raiding the Capitol, and the only quote that's there is, "I don't know why she was there."
I cannot wait for Fox News to spin this and go, she was an Air Force veteran who served in Iraq, which she did. But again, Fox News, your whole like Blue Lives Matter thing, an officer got killed, which is, and let me tell you, one officer as of right now got killed in that. And that makes it one officer killed in this protest, 0 police officer killed in protests against police brutality.
there's your quote. That's a little too long, but
No, I kind of like kept receipts or to be a fly on the wall, or kept receipts.
fly on the wall doesn't really like.
I like we kept receipts, and then the whole fly on the wall gag is for our loyal listeners who bared with us for like a freaking hour.
I think the receipts one's better than the fly one for the quote.
Yeah, we'll make it.
I don't think anyone's gonna listen to this, but that's all right.
No, probably not. But to be a fly, to be a fly on the wall, and the one person who did make it this far.
We need your Trump supporter friend again.
So you like this text exchange with him yesterday? Or,
Coming at you
yesterday.
live, Tim. Hope you're listening.
He's not listening. He just sends me a text. He sends me a text in the middle of the day. He goes, "Well, this isn't a good look." And I go, "Yeah, you think?"
Wow, that's yeah.
And then he goes on, and I forget what he was. And then he goes, "In my defense," I go, "Oh, this should be good." He's like, "I don't agree with this." I go, "Well, that's good. That's nice, Tim."
At least we know where you stand.
Yeah, no, he said
he doesn't seem like a radical.
Him. What?
He doesn't seem like a radical. Like he seems like a true conservative.
No, he said if this is the Republican Party, I need to go find a third party because this is not what I want. And I do think that there's like a lot of people, like he's a Republican that over everything values democracy. Like there are people like I know how I said earlier that oh, at least the Republicans are the party of freedom and democracy and yada, yada, yada in a sarcastic tone. But I mean, there's definitely a group of Republicans that are very pro democracy and they
Yeah.
truly care about the democratic process.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's hard for them right now to speak out and be like, yep, we lost, because no one wants to do that. But I don't know. Also, one of my other takeaways is that I think if there's going to be any sort of coming together, like, oh God, it's so hard because I fucking hate those people.
Coming
But like,
together with who? Coming together with the crazy conspirator? Because there's no
no,
coming
just
together there. But
no, you're
we
right.
do have to come together with the conservatives who respect the political process.
Yeah. I
Those are
mean,
the people we got to come together with.
there needs to be I feel like for the last
Because
8 years, I guess, and I guess I just don't really remember before that. Like we talk about it, it's like we versus them, and it's us against them, and it feels like it's sports, but like it's not sports. Like we are in this together. Like if you're a politician, you can't be saying they or those people. We as a country, we have some people that think this. Like you can't say those people. I don't know. I just think that there's so many divisive words, and I feel like it. Like people like you lost the election. Like it feels like it's a sporting event.
I can tell you this: the Senate going forward has the majority 51-50. You're not passing a lot of laws 51-50. You're going to need support on both, on both sides to work together, because all it takes is one rogue Democrat to go on the other side and screw everything up. You know what I mean? So it's not like Democrats are
Yeah,
going to push everything through. It's going to make confirmation
definitely not. And
easier. It's going to make
I think if Democrats push everything through, I think that's the worst thing that they can do. I
correct.
think
Correct.
right now is the time to try to work across the aisle. I mean, you have all the control that you want. So if you really need something to be pushed through, you can do it. But
And
I
and
mean, but okay, but my thing is, I would still like them to do their jobs. I'm not saying like push all these like radical far left policy through, making like everything like. There's some things I agree with, some I disagree with, but like there's some things that like might be 51-50, but I want to be pushed through. Like gun control, like we need to do that now, because let me tell you, like those people should not be armed to the teeth walking into the Capitol. And that's another thing. The woman who got shot, I'm sorry, but like she was surrounded by people with guns. So I'm there's going to be divisive issues that
she's also storming the Capitol.
yes,
So
like there's going to be divisive issues that are going to be 51-50, but like I'm sorry, like gun control needs to be one of those issues.
I
Like making abortion legal needs to be one of those issues, and gay rights needs to be one of those issues. And I think like, but there's some stuff that are going to be very multi-layered, like police reform. There's not going to be just one law about police reform. There's going to be a lot of them. And all those like those can't be 51-50, all of them. Like you need to kind of work across the aisle, because for like something like police reform really needs to be multiple laws that are very like people from both sides working on. But I'm sorry, there's some issues that if they're 51-50 and some people are mad, but it prevents people from getting shot, so be it. Like I'm sorry, but that's just where I am. Like I trust me, like shooting AR-15s is very fun. Like I'll be the first to admit that. I've gone to gun ranges for it. It's very fun. It's not worth it. Sorry. It's not worth mass shootings. It's a whole different thing. Sorry to go off on that.
no, I know, I agree with you, and I think what you're saying is there's a lot of moral issues that shouldn't be right down the middle. There's moral issues that are obvious. People who can marry whoever they want to marry. I mean, it's not doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out like that's important, that people feel, that they have that ability. But there are things that are multi-layered, like you said, with gun control and all that stuff that we absolutely need. But again, if we make this a party issue, it becomes mute. So we need that bipartisan kind of working together, do their jobs, and push through smart legislation. But because what's going to happen if the Democrats do push all this through in 4 years, if the Republicans get power, they're going to do the exact same thing. So it's just a back and forth to whoever has the majority. If we come together and work together, we're setting precedent for the future that we work together as one.
Maybe in 2024 they'll put interesting candidates out.
The one, I mean, two things. One, we need to get younger in the Congress, and two, the issue that I'm most interested in, not most interested, but the one that I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens is DC and Puerto Rico statehood. I want to see how the Congress reacts to that, because that could have major implications. But that's
I'm also interested to see, like, this is now the time to start passing climate change. I know we're going on so many different topics right now,
100%.
but like, this is the time for education reform and climate change, because
Right.
goddamn, those are way overdue.
Absolutely, I 100% agree with you. Climate change should be priority number one.
What do you mean?
In my
Florida. I mean, yes, climate change priority number one, or kind of making sure that these conspiracy people aren't raiding the Capitol building again, which I do think starts at education. That's why I'm very happy that Betsy DeVos is not the Secretary of Education anymore.
It's not Betsy DeVos's education.
DeVos.
Yes, fuck Betsy.
Bauer, say it.
Fuck Betsy DeVos.
Yeah, it does not feel good.
God,
I'm gonna say it again.
Fuck Josh Hawley.
Betsy DeVos.
Fuck Ted Cruz. Fuck Josh Hawley.
Marco Rubio. I wanted to call Marco Rubio.
Florida, please do something. Go to his
He's
office.
such a. I hate him. Not to overuse the word, but oh my God, he's a.
Twice in one sentence.
The audacity to tweet out to his supporters, "We can't be violent right now." Shut the fuck up. This is what you've wanted. You stupid little tweets every fucking morning of a Bible verse.
I hate Marco Rubio.
I liked him originally, and then oh my God, you're a cunt.
When Christie called him out about doing the robotic or the same phrase over and over again on the debate, I was like, it's over from Rubio.
That was a great say what you want.
Great pickup by Christie.
Just top to bottom. What characters?
100%.
Bring those back.
Like Carly Fiorina going to botanical gardens and showing 5-year-olds why abortion is murder. What a great primary. That primary was incredible.
Ben Carson just mumbling on the side.
If only Tsipolitics was around then.
Oh my God. I still think they should have done. That's when I invented my my debate brackets, where you just do head to head. So instead of having to
text in
throw them all on stage, it's like who do you want to advance in the primary, and how do you get young people to vote? Brackets, so obviously.
So it's like March Madness.
Yeah. Text in to vote.
How do we get seeded? Who's the number one seed in 2016? Is it Trump?
No. Our initial seeding is based on initial funding.
Oh. So self-funding, if I'm like a $200 million self-funder, I'm number one.
No. You can fundraise in your campaign, but when it times to come seeding and voting for the bracket, it's how much money has your campaign raised. That's your seed. So I would say the first round probably would have been like Jeb Bush versus like Fiorina. And I think Trump would have been a pretty low seed because he didn't have a ton of money at the start.
But then after, correct. But then after like the like Iowa, New Hampshire, and all that stuff, I think is seeding done by the voting. Or
No. We are getting rid of the stupid caucuses and state primaries. Like it is national like primary voting for each matchup if you are a registered Republican. So and then once it gets to the final four, then you do and then you kind of do your primaries.
Interesting.
It wouldn't theoretically work and it would totally get hacked, but I just think it'd be a great way to get voters if you turn this into March Madness.
It would make a fun podcast episode.
Oh my God, could you imagine? CNN and Fox News would love that. Turner always spends so much money on the actual March Madness. Could you imagine if there's like, all right, we got the rights locked in for Carson versus Fiorina at 8:00, and then at 10:00 we got the late night West Coast Fox News.
You can have a double header.
Ba-da-da-ba-ba-ba-da-da. Just have the March Madness theme.
Just keep the same themes, the same imaging. I'm Jim Nance moderating this. Kevin Harlan would be a great moderator.
Hello, friends. I'm Jim Nance here at the University of Rhode Island.
We're live in Dayton, where it's Carly Fiorina against Ben Carson. She goes up to the podium and takes a sip of water. Then they're talking abortion.
And then who's it?
I want Kevin Harlan to
Vitale
narrate
comes in.
everything in my life.
And then Rafferty at the start of every game. It's like, dude, he's having a seizure at every single game.
A great celebration, cutting off the microphone from the podium here at Drexel.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I wish this could happen now.
Well, we're gonna end it here because I need to edit this. But
Dead.
yeah, Xander, Alex, thanks for joining me. Of course.
Oh, was that still recording when I was calling Rubio?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm Pete Sippis. This is Sip Talk. Thanks for listening.